What is going on, people? It's your boy Astro, aka the Galaxy Shogun, coming to you here today with One Piece, chapter 1059. Now, this review slash discussion, I probably could have got out on Friday, given the fact that, I read the chapter typically most weeks on Friday, but with a chapter like this, I figured it was in my best interest, and the interest of making this a better video, to just, sit and let it marinate, chill on Reddit, chill on YouTube, see what other, content creators were talking about. That's one of the cool parts of, this One Piece community, man. So many things in this chapter that I missed. I must have read this chapter about 5 times now, and I just keep picking up on new things, so hopefully I can provide some cool insights that, that you'll find interesting. So if this is your first time here, I have a goal of reaching 10,000 subscribers one day. My goal for the end of the year is 1,000 subscribers, so if you'd like to help me get there, and you enjoy One Piece and One Piece content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I got a ton of One Piece content coming your way. So, on to the goddamn chapter. I cannot say wow enough. I was floored. My jaw was on the floor reading this. Like, I'm still trying to process all of the information. Now, typically for these reviews, I just like to focus on what's, important or most interesting to me, but I think for the sake of a chapter like this, I'll actually go through chronologically and try to touch on most things, because man, is there a lot. Just about everything in this chapter would qualify as being super interesting to me, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So starting off with the cover page, I'm gonna get a lot of people mad because there's a lot of Katakuri fanboys, but honestly, I just think he's kind of overrated. I think that a lot of people get way too meta with Whole Cake Island. I think Whole Cake Island wasn't as great as some people make it sound, and Katakuri, though his powers are cool, didn't love the fight. Snake Man's cool, but, if not for Snake Man, that could have been a very forgettable fight for me. Besides that, I bring that up because obviously we have Caesar, somebody that, people often give the shit end of the stick, like to claim is very weak. Caesar got the W on Oven and Katakuri. Cope, make as much excuses as you want. This is the reality. He's lethal. Like, Luffy technically being immune to poison to some extent, and being able to just, maneuver his body outside of where there's no oxygen. It's a pretty good way to combat what Caesar was doing. For the average fighter in the One Piece world, unless you have an immunity to this type of thing, like gases and whatnot, which I'm sure most people in the One Piece world don't, you're going to end up like Katakuri and Oven, which, obviously Katakuri is way stronger than Oven, but, both of them not looking too great right now on behalf of Caesar, so it is what it is. Caesar definitely gets some clout for that one. So, into the actual chapter, we have Oda... I would almost call this Oda admitting fault, realizing that the way that he ended Wano was a little inappropriate, considering that we didn't get to see Luffy and Marco speak, and, Yamato's weird reasoning for not joining the crew. Now, people like to call me an Oda dick rider, and I absolutely love One Piece. It's my favorite series, but it's not going to stop me from being honest and critical when I think there's a problem, like the last chapter where, Yamato just kind of randomly didn't join, even though they made it pretty clear that she probably should have joined. Besides that, there's people in the comments that go, oh, and it's a big theme in this chapter too, the off-screening, the things that we slowly get into, which, again, as we progress in this chapter review, you'll know more what I'm talking about, but the things that, Oda just doesn't show, and then the things that he does show that feel unnecessary at times, it's like, the anime, for this reason, this is the reason that I get really mad when people get angry or say the anime sucks. The anime is going to take the liberties and give us more details, because, honestly, even after reading this chapter 5 times, like, it was very unclear. It's very unclear to follow what's going on in a lot of these scenes, because there's so much time jumps, right? Bo Hancock at the beginning of the chapter is talking about what happened 3 weeks ago, and then we're jumping back and forth from that, and then we're talking about Wano, and that arc's supposed to be finished. Moral of the story, Oda did what he was supposed to do, and he acknowledges that he probably didn't do that the best he could. So for your people that want to dick ride Oda 24/7 and say, oh no, nothing Oda does is ever wrong, he never makes a mistake. The man is human. The man is almost a god. He's Goda, definitely, as close as a manga creator can get to being a god, in my opinion, but I'm not one of those people that play defense for Oda 24/7. If something's bad like that, I think that he should fix it or address it, and he did. And that's one of the reasons One Piece is my favorite, because he knew he didn't get it right, and he fixed it. So, regardless, we get Luffy talking to Marco, blah, 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 Ace, yeah, Ace would be so proud, okay, good, that's resolved. Marco's out. He calls up Shanks, which I think it was Brago Diaz or another person on YouTube that said I didn't realize Shanks was driving Ubers and Lyfts, but apparently he is, because he just, I guess Marco called him to pick him up. It's hard to tell if Marco called him and that's the reason Shanks was there, or if Shanks was coming for another reason. I'm leaning more towards the former, because I don't think Shanks really had another reason to be there unless he knew Green Bull was going to be there. I think the more likely reason is that he came to pick up Marco. So, even though they're on separate pirate crews, they've known each other for a long time. They're probably good friends. They both hate that bitch nigga Blackbeard, so all makes sense to me. So, Shanks does this thing. He always says to Marco, "You sure you don't want to join the crew?" And Marco's like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, I'm just going to Shanks." So, some people are saying that Marco knows Weevil is coming. I don't know where you get that from. Like, he's just going back to protect where Whitebeard is from. If I'm missing earlier in the story where Marco acknowledges that Weevil's coming, then my apologies. But I don't think that's laid out super clear here. It just seems like Marco's going back to Shanks to do his regular duties of protecting Whitebeard's, homeland. So, I mean, if Weevil shows up there, yes, I'm expecting that. But Marco has been through enough as is. Like, please don't let like more tragedies befall this man, because like he's just been through too much. He's lost a lot of his crew. He's lost Ezo, like he's lost Whitebeard, Ace, like Thatch, even Blackbeard to some extent. Like that must have hurt that betrayal. So it's like, Oda, like you must just hate Marco to continuously give him like this much misfortune. So again, like a lot of people were guessing in terms of Yamato, she's staying back to protect Wano because apparently everyone in Wano sucks. And I wish I was joking when I say that, but I really mean that because, like, I don't know, Green Bull wasn't all that impressive. I think with, like, 9 scabbards that could use Ryo, like, you guys are samurai, I guess there's honor in fighting one by one, but clearly you're not opposed to a huge kaiju battle. You're not opposed to a 1-on-9, so if one admiral comes and there's 9 scabbards, or I guess less than that now given the debts that we had, but I still think, like, at least 4 or 5 of them should be able to put up a decent fight. Who knows? Maybe I am again still underestimating the admirals, but these scabbards like Ashura Doji, which might have been one of the strongest scabbards. Sure, he's dead now, but like he was doing pretty damn good against Jack, who's a Yonko commander. Like obviously like a Yonko commander, like the third, not the strongest Yonko commander, but a Yonko commander nonetheless, like top 3, which is still pretty notable. So I mean, like you would hope that like Denjiro or even Kinemon has some pretty impressive durability feats on top of the BS Looney Tunes nonsense that we experience with his body-in-law. I just moral of the story, like okay, I get it. Yamato's way stronger than them, but I mean, still don't love that she's not with us. We don't have a lot of the story left, so it's like Yamato probably should have boarded now, but okay, whatever. I have a feeling that Yamato will show up at some point similar to Jinbei, so we'll just wait for that day. So, now to the meat and potatoes. What happened between Kobe and Bo Hancock? So Kobe pulls up with the Vice Admiral. I'm not even going to say his name. He's fodder. I'm sorry. I've said this. Disrespect. I hardly respect admirals at this point. Like, I don't give a fuck about a Vice Admiral. They are fodder. Like, they are legitimately fodder. Like, Usopp is low dipping a Vice Admiral at this point. So, just, if you're wondering why I'm just not bringing them up, or I don't, it's because they're irrelevant. Like, like, they just are. I'm sorry. Like, wholesale. Even Smoker. Just irrelevant. So, with the exception of Garp, but I feel like that's needless to say. So, anyways, Kobe and Fodder pulls up against Bo Hancock, and the Kudras are pretty strong. They could use hockey, but I'd assume a lot of people in the Marines could probably do that too. So Bo Hancock, we haven't really seen her go crazy. We know that she could one-hit pacifistas, and she's a really busted devil fruit. The thing that we have to worry about are the SSG. We finally get to see what that is, and I know that there's been some confusion because the SSG stands for Special Science Group. However, people, it is the name of the group and the name of what they produce as well. So don't get it confused, because I've had a few arguments on Twitter. No, SSG just stands for Special Science Group. These aren't the Special Science Group. Yes, they are. A Special Science Group is the code name for what they are producing and the name of the group. Check the wiki if you don't believe me. Regardless, this is fucked up. I'm going to make this very clear. Vegapunk is not a good guy. Vegapunk, everyone wants to paint Vegapunk as this kind, like, whatever, Mega Man, who created Mega Man, like, that type of guy, right? Like, they want to paint this as, like, a kind old scientist. No, this motherfucker Vegapunk is evil. You are now altering the lineage of a race that you guys genocided, okay? The government genocided it, and don't try and disconnect Vegapunk. He's associated with the government. He's a part of this. He is just as responsible, if not most responsible, for the Lunarians being wiped out, or all the atrocities that's going on, I guess, as a wider theme in the One Piece world. Any sort of fuckery, any sort of real low-down shit going on in this world has Vegapunk tied to it. So I'm just not here for the Vegapunk's a good guy argument anymore. Vegapunk is kind of a piece of shit, because look, there's a few options here, and I know, like, I haven't directly said it yet, but I'm really thrown off by the Seraphims. I think it's cool as fuck that they're Lunarians. I think it's cool as fuck that they're spliced with, warlord genes, but it opens up a really, really, really gross can of worms of ethics, and it's not something that I expected One Piece to touch on, surprisingly, and One Piece touches on a lot of things, but now we're getting into the ethics of cloning and gene splicing, and I just pray to God, even if these are test tube babies, right, that got spliced, Judge Method or Caesar, whatever their science group figured out, and Vegapunk is able to do the same thing that, Judge did to his children, splice through genes with Lunarian DNA while also adding the genes of the warlords. It is definitely evil. At a bare minimum, it's unethical, but I would argue at a bare minimum, it is evil. Like, nothing you can say is going to convince me that Vegapunk is a decent person going forward, because there's two options to this. Like I said, test tube babies. Don't love that to begin with, because it means that you're kind of playing God. You're kind of, mixing things that don't need to be mixed. Can these seraphims feel emotion? They have mechanical parts in them too. They're just monstrosities, because you're just putting so many things together in this cute little package, and it's unsettling. It is unsettling. That's what I want to get across here. To me, it is unsettling what Vegapunk is doing here, and the other option would be even more unsettling, and that option is, if these are kids that were kidnapped or slaves, or maybe even some kids that they got from Punk Hazard, can you imagine if these were like normal kids and then they got like injected with genes of like, Lunarians, of the warlords, and their identity changed into these people? Either way, like, man, I'm not a pussy, but like, that type of stuff just like, it feels really icky to me. It feels really nasty to me. Vegapunk, you're sick. Even if you had a gun to your head, man, I don't think what you're doing here is excusable, quite frankly. So that's my 2 cents on this. I don't think that a lot of people really touched on just how unethical doing something like that is. Now you can ask yourself, and in fact, don't even ask yourself. You know what's coming, right? We're definitely going to get a Seraphim, like, Lunarian ace. And Luffy's going to see that, and Luffy's going to absolutely go ballistic. Like, there's no way that they don't have genes of every main prominent figure. We might see a fucking Seraphim Whitebeard, a Seraphim Roger. Like I said, we're definitely seeing a Seraphim Ace. Like, this is about to get ugly. And needless to say, they're Lunarians. They have Pacifista mechanical enhancements, and they also have the skills of the Warlord. It's yet to be seen if they could use their Devil Fruit powers, because, like, that would be busted, and I don't put it past them. Obviously, we didn't see Bo Seraphim turn anybody into stone yet, but Mihawks could use his swordsmanship, which obviously is a Devil Fruit power. It's more like what's built into him. So, I'm just saying, if they end up using Devil Fruit powers too, like, we get a Crocodile Seraphim that could control sand or have similar Logia powers, oh my god, this is about to get friggin' ugly. So, I mean, and that's the main part for me. Like, okay, Blackbeard pulls up. Blackbeard has a higher bounty. What did Blackbeard do to get a little bit of a higher bounty? Okay. Vasco shot as a dirtbag for suggesting what he was going to do with Bo's body. He's on his Donovan shit. This guy needs to be in Berserk. This is One Piece, sir. Alright? This isn't Shonen Magazine. Let's remember where we are here. And Katarina Devon is still a baddie. I would paper bag it. I don't give a fuck. Quote me on that. Besides that, Blackbeard is out here putting the smackdown on Bo Hancock. Bo Hancock is definitely getting destroyed, getting thoroughly ran through by Blackbeard and co. If not for the Seraphims, Bo Hancock probably would have died, and most certainly if not for Rayleigh's intervention, everybody would have died. So before that, Bo Hancock, even though she is getting manhandled by Blackbeard here, her bounty is like 1.6 billion, which is obviously nothing to sneeze at. She's very strong, very capable, but like against Blackbeard with 2 Devil Fruits and whatever else he has hiding, this is the result I expected. Now, what is disappointing is that we don't see Kobe fighting Bo Hancock. I wanted to see Kobe's skill in real time. Not in any special. I want to see if Kobe's formidable. Kobe is the hero of the Marines now, so he's following Garp's footsteps, which is cool. He was at the Rocky Port incident, and apparently Blackbeard was there too. They beat Ochaku, who was Wang Zi, someone who was a part of the Rocks Pirates, and that is how he got Full of Lead Island. So a lot of lore being dumped, and Blackbeard seems to have a very favorable opinion of Kobe. Like, with Kobe being kidnapped at the end of the chapter, I can't help but think that Blackbeard wouldn't harm him. Like, Blackbeard almost trusts Kobe, and that's like, ugh. I'm like, bro, Kobe, like, I don't know, man. I liked Kobe a little more before this chapter, because now he just seems like someone who can't back his talk up. Like, he's trying to be diplomatic about things, but Kobe, like, or not even Kobe, Oda, I want to see him fight. Is he really formidable, or is he someone that's going to get one-shotted by Luffy or anyone else at that power level going forward, The fact that Blackbeard respects him, I really need to know what happened at the Rocky Port incident between him, Blackbeard, and Law, and obviously Wang Ji as well, because a lot of question marks, but this is probably another thing that a lot of people don't bring up. Kobe looks like a bitch, quite frankly. Like, he's settling this diplomatically, but in a situation like this, like, At least he's trying to. Like, couldn't we see him at least get a few panels of fighting? Like, haven't we been patient enough? Like, come on. We need to see what Kobe is capable of. So maybe we get to see a Kobe versus Blackbeard, and I eat my words, and I get to come on camera and say I'm sorry for ever doubting Kobe, but like, the fact that he's deciding to handle everything diplomatically when he has Blackbeard in front of him and the situation with Hancock. Sure, he has the SSG, the Seraphims on his side, but like, I don't know, man. This is not the way I expected Kobe to go about things, is my point. So back to Hancock getting buffed from this chapter. Hancock is able to actually, like, permanently keep people as stones. Like, if you kill her, similar to what I would assume Big Mom's power is, like, I think her homies would still exist. Like, it doesn't matter if you kill her. If she turns you into stone, you're just stone. And shout out to Sawyer7Mage, one of the best fucking reviewers, one of the best theorists in the One Piece community. Just a gem. His review video, if you haven't watched it already, please do, because this man, he must have cracked the code. Bo's Devil Fruit has to be another mythical zone. Like, I'm thinking there's too much related to, you know, Medusa or something in the line of that theory that Blackbeard might be going after. Because I don't think that what we know of Bo's Devil Fruit so far would be the reason that Blackbeard would particularly want it. It seems like a weird power for him to have. Like, don't people have to be allured by you to be turned into stone? Like, Blackbeard isn't exactly winning, like, you know, top most handsome faces in the world for 2022. So even in the One Piece world, I mean, there's some other motherfuckers in the One Piece world, but Blackbeard, you know, Blackbeard's no Shanks, you know what I mean? He's no Sabo. So, like, there's got to be some ulterior motive at play. And again, I'm not going to spend, this video is almost already 20 minutes. I'm not going to go into what Sawyer already said. Just go watch that man's video. He's a genius. So, like I said, by the end of the chapter, Rayleigh comes and he saves Bo and the rest of the island. We have Mini Mihawk Seraphim, which I missed. I really did miss it the first 3 read-throughs. Slashing shit to oblivion. That is fucking terrifying. I have nothing else to say aside from that is terrifying and unsettling. That there is now a Mini Mihawk, which technically they could probably clone this Mini Mihawk as many times as they need to. It's just not a good look. So, yeah, we have that going on. The SSG has been revealed. The Seraphims have been revealed. And, yeah, things are not looking too hot, to be honest with you. Like, I'd love to see how a Admiral would do up against the Seraphim, because the Seraphim was, like, almost throwing Blackbeard off at points. I'm not saying that the Seraphim would definitely win, or have definitely won, but Blackbeard had some genuine fear in his eyes when he noticed that they were Lunarians, which is a good point. Blackbeard knows history, my guy. He said, white hair, brown skin. He knew that they were Lunarians, so don't ever think Blackbeard's an idiot, because that man low-key got some stuff going on. So, besides that, we find out something that a lot of people have also theorized, and that is that Shaki was from, you know, Bo Hancock's island, the Isle of Women's, which means that both Luffy and Rayleigh, at least by the looks of it, bagged an empress, because she was the former empress of the Kuja, and like the head of the Kuja pirates 2 generations ago. So at first I was saying, okay, so Shaki's probably Hancock's mother. She could be Hancock's mother, but I guess age-wise it would make more sense for her to be the grandmother, because the empress before Hancock succumbed to the sickness, and the one before, the one that died, is Shaki, or Shakuyaku, or I think that's the name, yeah. So basically, the one that died, it's looking more likely that that could be, you know, possibly Hancock and her sister's parents, and then she died because of love sickness, maybe after Hancock was conceived, or Shaki could very well be Hancock's mother, because I do think they look alike, and that would probably make Rayleigh their father, at least Hancock's father, which makes sense too, because Hancock is like super comfortable with Rayleigh, and this isn't like the first time we've seen Rayleigh kind of go out of the way to save Hancock. So, you know, he could be doing it for Luffy, but that very well could just be his daughter. Like, as I see Hancock on Rayleigh's legs, and I see Shakuyaku, like Shaki obviously sitting there, I look at, you know, Rayleigh, I look at Shaki, and I look at Hancock, and they definitely could be a family. They absolutely could be a family. I'm super excited to see what Shaki looked like when she was the Kuja pirate ex-captain, or when she was the captain, I should say, back in the day. So hopefully at some point we get to see how she fell in love with Rayleigh and how that ended up playing out. So again, this video has went super long. Kobe got kidnapped. If we get Kobe versus Blackbeard, I would love that. If Kobe continues to be a bitch and doesn't fight, I would say, what is going on here? But again, those are just my expectations, and I understand that I'm not Oda, and they're not gonna come through exactly as I want them to, but at the end of the day, like, I just think it's about time we saw what Kobe is capable of. These SSGs are formidable, unsettling, and quite frankly will give me nightmares. Vegapunk is an asshole. He's not a good guy. Anyone still pushing that needs to, not to be self-righteous or anything, but, you know, once you're playing God and splicing human genes, you're probably not all that good of a person, so just saying. anyways, that's been it. This has been a 22-minute video, which I definitely didn't intend for it to be, but, you know, when there's a lot of content, there's a lot of content. Look out in the next few days for another video I'll be posting. I'm posting, I believe, my Brook video, based on what should happen with Brook in, you know, the next few years, all the series ends. So, if you're looking forward to that and more One Piece content, please, again, let me know your thoughts in the comment, like the video, subscribe. I really want to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Thanks again if you made it to the end of the video, and make sure to always be chasing your one. Peace!